चेक कर स्ट्रीमिंग पे आ रहा है यूट्यूब पे आ रहा है क्या चेक कर
आ रहा है यूट्यूब पे
नाम नहीं चेक होता
यूट्यूब पे आ रहा है
वही देखना पड़ेगा ना
वर्तिक यूट्यूब ज्वाइन करके चैनल तो वही है ना
आ रहा है ना
वर्तिक ये यूट्यूब लिंक भी और सबको शो में यूट्यूब
सर रेडी सर का कुछ आया और ये निरंजन सर कब स्टार्ट करना है बोल ही नहीं रहे
यूट्यूब लाइव आ रहा है ना I will be speaking here. If you want to be seen as a
रील्स का क्या करना है
Please डाल देना ना
इंस्टा में डालने की
Instagram में डाल
यूट्यूब पे जरूरी नहीं है
and after that break paper post शुरू करेंगे
इमीडिएटली
हाँ
इमीडिएटली
नहीं
ब्रेक है ठीक
3 o'clock ना
हाँ सर आए सर आने के बाद मेरे को पता सर आने का बताए
सर आ गए
बोलने हैं
Just tell everyone to join
वो लिंक शेयर कर दे मैं
YouTube का भी चलिए स्टार्ट करें हाँ आज सॉलिड टर्म्स पे ज्वाइन ask sir first. So shall I ask him? You can start and then just Sir, shall we start now?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, sir, we shall start. A very good afternoon to one and all present here. After an amazing inauguration ceremony, we now start with the scientific events. The annual scientific event of this year is Scintilla, which means spark, and the motto behind this is to let the spark of knowledge ignite within all of us. To enlighten us with his knowledge and experience, we have the guest speaker for today, Dr. Niranjan Bhatkar. He is a practicing microendodontist, a micro-restorative dentist, and the owner of a specialty-based practice in Pune. He has conducted various workshops and has delivered in various Indian and international webinars. He has won many awards, one of which is the Endodontist of the Year Award at the FAMDent Excellence Dentistry Awards in 2013. Not only this, but standing shoulder to shoulder with today's world, he has launched his own website and has a very informative YouTube channel. I request sir to begin with his lecture now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I'll just share my screen. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, so I welcome one and all to this amazing event that is Scintilla, which is organized by the Harmony team of GDC Mumbai. And my topic for today is strategies for predictable composite restorations. Now, first and foremost, I am, indebted to my college. I passed out in 2006, and I thank Dimple ma'am and the entire team Harmony, who took care of the all back end work. And first and foremost, today's date, 26th July, I would say is very iconic. Of course, it is iconic because today there was inauguration of the Harmony, but this moment goes back in 2005, where exactly almost in 2005 there were severe floods in Mumbai, and I still remember this day because we had just completed our prosto final exam, and due to rains the exam had to be cancelled. So this day, that is 26th July, is it is imbibed in our mind. And each year, me and my batchmates and all my colleagues, whenever this day comes, we always cherish the same memories, that everyone is staying back at the hostel. And I still remember, Pawar sir was there at the hostel, and sitting in the hostel, he cancelled our entire university exam. That was, and of course, we were in two minds. We were happy also, we were sad also, that happy to because the exams got cancelled, but again things were delayed, and फिर से पढ़ाई करना, and so but it was an amazing moment. Second nostalgic memory that I have, that when it was my endodontic posting, I still remember, I still have a photograph of my chair where I had treated many patients in those 2 months. And destiny, as it is rightly said, it takes you in the right direction. I don't know how did I land and became an endodontist. At that moment of the time, I never imagined that I would get into masters, but here I am today. So, friends, my name is Niranjan Bhatkar. I practice in Pune, that is the twin city of Pune, that is Pimpri Chinchwad. And I conduct a lot of courses on endodontics, composite, rubber dam, and microscope. So, any point of the time, if you happen to visit Pune, I would be more than happy to host you. So when I spoke to Dimple ma'am that on what exactly should I be speaking, so she had a very straightforward answer, that keep it simple, and keep it as make the topic in such a way that you can divide it into three parts, that is the techniques, the adhesives, and the composites. So this would be the frame of my entire presentation. So let's start first with the etching. Now a lot of you are into interns. Some of you are doing your final year, or maybe third year or second year. So I would go into some basic aspects and a bit of advance also. Now, etching, all of us are well versed with this step of etching. So when it comes to composite, you cannot do a composite restoration without etching. Now, etching is a step where we are scrubbing the phosphoric acid on the tooth surface. Now, as we all are aware that any tooth surface has two parts. It has actually three parts. So enamel, dentine, and pulp. What we are talking today is all about the enamel and dentin. Now, when it comes to etching, enamel, etching to enamel is the best bond strength that you can have, or any restoration can have. So, etching to enamel is the most important step. So, when I start with my caries excavation, my entire intention while excavating caries is to preserve the healthy enamel as much as I can, because etching to enamel is going to give you the best bond strength. On the contrary, when it comes to etching of dentine, we are aware of this total etch technique, where we have flooded the entire cavity with our phosphoric acid etchant. Now at this point, the enamel and the dentine are together getting etched. Now, enamel, as we all are aware, it has more of inorganic content as compared to dentine. So, definitely, enamel needs more amount of etching time. But dentine does not have so much amount of inorganic content. It has a bit of organic content also. So, this total etch technique, that is the 40 seconds of etching time, is very excessive, or it is too much for the dentine. It is good for the enamel, but it is not good for the dentine. So eventually what used to happen is that many of the patients used to come back with post-operative sensitivity. So again, this was a major issue that was taken up by the manufacturers of the composites and bonding agents, and eventually they came out with a solution that once the total edge technique has been used, maybe you should scrub some kind of desensitizer. Now, desensitizer is a material where we are reducing the post-operative sensitivity after our composite restoration. Or if you are not using a desensitizer, manufacturers came out something which is called a self-edge bond. Self-edge bond means you don't need to use a phosphoric acid agent. The agent is there in the adhesive bottle itself, but there is a clause to it. Now these two products, that is the desensitizer and the self-edge. Now when it comes to using a desensitizer, there is always an extra step to it. And when it comes to the self-edge adhesives, you do not get the bond strength value like your total edge technique, because the acid that is used in these self-etch adhesives is not phosphoric acid. It is malic acid, which is a very weak acid. So it does not etch the enamel as effectively as a phosphoric acid. Therefore, the problems with the self-etch adhesive was at decreased bond strength values, there is less infiltration of the primer, and there is interference with the setting of a dual cure composite. Therefore, a easier method to tackle this situation as to not over-edge the dentine and still get the best bond strength is to use a technique called a selective etch technique, in which initially I am placing the etchant only over the enamel. I wait for 20 seconds, then I pull the dentine also with my etchant, and collectively both the enamel and dentine I am scrubbing the etchant for 40 seconds. So with this technique, the enamel is getting sufficiently etched and the dentine is not getting over etched. So always use a selective etch technique when you are doing your composite restorations. Now, there are situations where the cavity is very deep. Maybe it is quite near to the pulp. Maybe the distance from the pulp is just 1 millimeter, and there is a possibility that what accidentally, if my etchant falls on the deepest part of the cavity, there is a possibility that the dentine might get over etched, or through the dentina tubules, the pulp may get irritated or it may get inflamed. So a simple hack that you can use is to pack Teflon in the deepest part of the cavity, the area which is very close to the pulp. Now, Teflon is a very useful material in dentistry. Believe me, friends, this is just one use of Teflon that I'm mentioning here, but Teflon is a very excellent material and it is a very handy material when it comes to composite, prosto, etc. Sometimes, I feel that rather than the plumber, we need it more. The Teflon is nothing but the plumber strip that we get in our local hardware store. So to simplify the fourth generation, we had the etching step separate, priming step separate, and the adhesive step separate. So there were 3 steps to it. To simplify this, the manufacturers came out with a fifth generation bonds where there were only 2 steps. The primer and the adhesive were there in a single bottle. And eventually the manufacturers then came out with the 6th and 7th generation adhesives, though there was 1 step involved in it, but the bond strength values, they were not good. So the fifth generation were actually the best of both the worlds. Now the issue with fifth generation was that, sorry, let me go back. Okay. So the issue with the fifth generation bonds were that I always needed 2 coats of the fifth generation bonds, because with a single coat, the primer does not infiltrate that much into the collapsed dentinal tubules. Okay, the fibrils which are there, the collagen fibrils, the primer does not infiltrate. So I always need 2 coats of bonding agent whenever it comes with fifth generation bond. On top of that, another issue with these fifth generation bonds was that if I need to bond a particular material to some other material, for example, let's take an example of bonding an orthodontic bracket to a metal crown. Is it possible when I need a metal primer or I need a ceramic primer for my ceramic crowns? So again, the extra inventory, extra step, all these headaches were there with the fifth generation bonds. So to simplify, today's bonding agents are